Okay, in today's fun-filled adventure, we're going to skip right over why I need new handlebars and get right into replacing handlebars and risers on the F850 GS. So whether you're here for just the handlebars or you're here to replace your risers, this is what you would have from the factory. You'd have these two screws up top here that you would undo to get the GPS box off. Then this black bracket will have 4 screws holding it down, so you would remove those, and then you would have your 4 screws that hold the hold down clamp on your handlebars. So that's how you would remove all that to get to your risers and then install your new risers. Now with these new risers, there is no way to attach the GPS box the way it was with those 2 screws that hold that on. What I did was I just set it in here and ran some zip strips under it, and that held it just fine. I haven't done any research yet on how to trace this wiring to get this undone and just eliminate the box, period. So at any rate, that's all you're going to do to get to your hold down clamps to replace your risers. So now moving on. So the first thing we're going to do is use a T30 to remove these 2 screws and a T50 to remove this screw. That will remove our mirror, our hand lever, and our guard on each side. To remove the controls here, you do not want to touch this assembly. This is meant to be one sealed assembly. You're going to roll this rubber back right here, and right inside there you're going to see the retaining screw right at the end of my thumb. That'll be a T15 to undo that. Once you have that out and it's a nice long screw, these will just slide right off. Now we're not going to do that quite yet because we still have the handlebars attached, but just to show you, that's going to slide off then. It's not going to be enough room to pull them off yet with the wires. Okay, removing the controls on the right hand side is going to be a little bit different than the left. We're going to be removing a T8 screw that's up inside there, taking these controls apart a little bit and removing them that way. On the left side you have a T8 screw here and one on the front side right there. You do not want to touch these. On the left side, all we're doing is pulling that back, removing that set screw, and then sliding the assembly off whole. So now removing the T8 screw up inside there, you're going to need a screwdriver-like device like this. You're going to need to get up in there 5/8 of an inch. That's how deep that screw is. Using a bit like this isn't going to be long enough to reach up in there. Okay, so once we have that screw out, we're going to very carefully pop this apart. And you're going to work this bottom plastic half out of there. And we're going to get that out of the way. Then I'm going to move the camera to the front side here so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so looking in from the front, we're going to have a little tab right here we're going to press in and pull down on this harness to disconnect that. So it's this big group of wires right here with the purple, blue, brown, all that. So push it on that little tab. And then that'll unplug. So once you have that disconnected, you're going to have one more T8 screw to remove right here. We are not removing this 2-wire harness here. We're going to let that be. And here you can get a better look at where that screw's at. We're back on the back side of the handlebars. So once that screw is removed, we'll be able to set the upper half of the controls off to the side. And now moving back to the front side of the bars. So now having the right side controls off exposes the other T15 screw that's going to have to come out to get the rest of the right hand side grips off. So once we have that screw removed, these grips will now slide right off. So now putting this back together really is a reverse of disassembly. The only thing you need to watch is when you put your new handlebars on there, make sure you fit your grips, your controls, onto the handlebars before you clamp them down. The only reason my passenger side came off so easy was because the handlebars are bent. You won't have that kind of free play in the wiring with new handlebars. So make sure you have those on before you start to clamp your handlebars down. Now the reason I'm demonstrating this with the bent handlebars still is because I was attempting to put on new aftermarket pro tapers. That is not going to work, I found out. Now I'm new to the off-road bike world, so I didn't know this. They don't have the threaded area in the ends for your hand guards, and they don't have the holes drilled and tapped for the set screws for the controls. So aftermarkets are not going to work. So now the reason I was showing you that with the bent handlebars is because I was going to be reinstalling new aftermarket pro tapers. That is not going to work. I'm new to the off-road bike world, so I didn't know the differences. The aftermarkets don't have the threaded area in the end of the bars for your hand guards and that. And they also don't have the different holes threaded, drilled, and tapped for the set screws that hold our controls in place. So these are going to have to go back. And instead of spending $400 shipped from BMW for new handlebars, I found some over in Romania. I'm getting sent to me. It's going to be about a month. Hopefully only a month with everything going on right now. It's probably going to be longer. But we're going to be waiting on those for a bit. Apparently, people aren't wrecking these things as fast as I am. So the used parts market is kind of slim right now. So I will wait on my new handlebars, and then I will be a little more careful until the shipping routes and all are back up to par, giving the pandemic of 2020. You know, and before I close this video out, let me also point out these aftermarket levers I got. I really like them. This bike is like mounting a Clydesdale, and so for my height and the way this kickstand is, the bike pretty well stands straight up. It's hard to park it on dirt roads and that if you have a crown in the road. So I had very gently put this bike down, and it broke the end off of my one lever, so I got these aftermarkets. And these are not expensive at all. They fold up, so if the bike does go down, you're not going to break them. And they also extend in and out, as you can see there. So I'll put a link in the description to some levers like this as well. A few different manufacturers out there. They all pretty well do the same thing. They all have all kinds of adjustments. Just really, really nice, cheap upgrade for your bike. So other than that, though, that's all there is to removing your handlebars and installing new ones. Removing your controls and risers are even easier because you're not touching any of the controls. You're simply undoing the bridge, removing the GPS unit, and installing your new risers, clamping right in there. It literally takes 5 minutes. So again, I'll put a link in the description down below on these ROX risers, and also a list of the tools needed to do the handlebar and control removal. So as always, appreciate you watching, appreciate the support. Stay tuned for more BMW things to come. And please like the video if it helped you out at all, and I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe. Thanks a lot.